this is Payana and welcome to my channel, and I've got two books for you today, both of which aren't available in English, which makes me insanely angry. The second one, I guess, might take a bit more time to get through, but Arto Paasilinna, there is no excuse for that. I think there are two books of his that are available in English, The Year of the Hare and The Howling Miller, I think. At least those two. But he's written hundreds of books, yeah, I mean, God, there are so many of them. He tragically passed away in 2018, but he left us a huge variety of novels that definitely deserve to be translated. This is a Finnish author. He is translated into French, so I don't see why, if you can translate at least two of his books, surely you can translate all the others. What's wrong? What's going on? Okay, this is the Son of the Thunder God. Ukko, the Finnish god of everything, is worried. He's worried because the Finnish people don't believe in their gods anymore. So he decides to take action and gathers together all the gods and mythical creatures of Finland in order to decide what to do to get the Finnish population to re-engage with their folklore. Ukko decides to take example on the Christian god, who won the faith of the Finnish population by sending his own son to Earth in order to teach them. So Ukko decides to send his own son, Rutja, in order to convince the Finnish population to believe in them. Only this huge bear-like man wouldn't pass unnoticed amongst Finnish people, so a further solution has to be found. On Earth, a simple man called Sampsa witnesses the son of the thunder god's arrival on Earth. This man is the last true believer in the Finnish gods and agrees to swap bodies with Rutja in order for him to walk amongst the people without arousing too much suspicion. In the form of the mortal Sampsa, Rutja, son of the thunder god, sets about his mission and gathers disciples in order to form a plan to remind the Finnish people of their true faith. It's decided that Rutja should perform some kind of miracles, and with the help of his father's thunder and lightning wielding powers, he decides that he will cure the mentally ill and sets about converting Sampsa's farm into a mental health institution where patients flock from all over the country in order to receive the mysterious mythical healing of the thunder god and his son. In return for this healing, they must spread the word that the true god of thunder has sent his son to Earth in order to renew everyone's faith. So this book was published in 1984, and Arto Paasilinna does write quite a bit about religion. He likes poking at religion, and I like stuff that pokes at religion, and this one's very good because, you know, you get to learn about all the kind of Finnish mythology, which isn't the same as Norse mythology. It's very, very different. They have different gods, although they are kind of similar. But they're also kind of different, so it's nice to have all, because at the beginning, you know, he gathers them all together and you have a sort of a description of every single god and their names and what they do and what they kind of stand for and what Rutja does and how the kind of heaven and the underworld work. So you've got a whole chapter kind of devoted to that, so it's lovely to kind of learn about other cultures and other religions. And I think it's interesting to sort of go back to original culture, as it were, like heritage, and renew with that. And they kind of go back to sacrificing meat to the gods, which is actually pointless because the gods can't eat, so they get all this food, you know, coming to them via the sacrifices they make, and they don't know what to do with it. So you've got all these sort of funny situations about how humans view their gods and what they like and what the gods actually like and can and can't do. So that's interesting, and I like the way they exist, but they kind of just mill around. They're there, but no one kind of knows they're there anymore. Everyone's sort of forgotten. And they need to be believed in to kind of carry on existing, really, because that's true. You kind of, things disappear as people kind of stop referencing them or believing in them, And so yeah, it's an interesting book with sort of an interesting message behind it. So yes, The Son of the Thunder God by Arto Paasilinna, a brilliant Finnish author who has written a great long list of novels, and it is shameful that so few of them are available in English. The next one is The Cemetery by Gerard Gui, who is a Spanish author, a Catalan author. In a not too distant future, the Earth has been rendered mostly uninhabitable by a nuclear war, and a dictator rules over most of Eurasia in an Orwellian / Ray Bradbury kind of way, controlling the minds of the citizens. And space in the ground has become limited, so it's been made illegal to bury the dead. Mourners now have to make do with a virtual graveyard, which they can design themselves, choose the season, the music, the flowers, and even the smells that they can see when they go there via virtual reality. However, this doesn't satisfy everyone. Isabel promised her mother that she would bury her in the ground, so she travels to a graveyard, which is nothing more than a museum, although it does contain real graves, and explains to the gravedigger what she wants to do. The gravedigger, a young man called Travis, isn't too keen on her idea. He explains to her that there are sensors in the ground that are rigged to an alarm system that would go off if any actual grave digging were to take place. Travis eventually agrees to her request on the condition that she stays in the graveyard with him, something she's actually quite willing to do, and he starts digging a grave with remarkable ease, making Isabel doubt whether or not he's actually human or just a very convincing android. So futuristic dystopian worlds are always terrifying, and I like the fact that this one, you don't actually get to ever see any of it. It's just, everything's sort of implied just through the dialogues of Isabel and Travis. There are only these two characters in the book. It's almost like a play, and the author is a playwright, so it makes sense. But yeah, it's very kind of terrifying to see what everything that's behind this, because you have the peaceful kind of atmosphere of the graveyard where everything's lovely and everything smells of roses, but the rest of the world, the one that Isabel goes back to, is very Orwellian, very Ray Bradbury-ish, very terrifying. Books are forbidden, and Travis and Isabel kind of connect through their love of forbidden books, like Alice in Wonderland is referenced, and I think Steinbeck is as well, so some interesting literary references to be dug in there, but yes. I think I find it a bit funny that Orwell wasn't actually mentioned, because you know, it is basically an Orwellian dystopian world. There are lots of shades of 1984 about it, and also Fahrenheit 451. So if you like those kind of novels, you will adore this one. I thought it was brilliant. Spanish author that I really hope will trickle down into the English-speaking world, because I really did love this. It was so good, and it is quite rare now, because we have you know, 1984 and Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451, so I think it's quite hard to recreate a novel like this that is so as terrifying as those, and like on the same level. So as I say, there's a lot less detail in there. It's about 200 pages long, but there is a lot kind of implied, and it is a very kind of dark and oppressing atmosphere to it. So, The Graveyard by Gerard Gui, which I really hope hold of. The Spanish-speaking world and the French-speaking world has it so far. So, languages, enjoy.